There we go. That's loose now. So you just need to support the prop shaft on an axle stand like I've done just here. So the hardest part of this whole job is getting this shaft. This shaft obviously just stays here, this prop shaft, and then we want to move this universal joint that way. So what we do is we have to push the drive shaft, this drive shaft in here that you can just see needs to go that way, the way that I'm pointing, and then we need to hit this way. So what I do is, my prop bearing is knackered anyway, so that's fine. But what I do is I've got a wedge in here, and then I'll hit the universal joint to split it apart. Whew. Come on, you're almost there. Oh, got it. Whew. And there it is. It's off. Okay, now we can finally remove this prop bearing completely. These are just in finger tight. Just undo these. So our old one just pulled off, which was nice. Usually, just on here, sometimes the inside of the old bearing will get stuck on there. You just have to beat it off with a hammer and a chisel, but just make sure you don't mark this surface here. It's got to stay clean and tidy. I've left mine a little bit loose for now. I'm going to run it down finger tight, well, almost finger tight, and then I'm going to push this bearing the rest of the way on. So this side faces towards the back of the vehicle on this, and you just want to get your bearing seated properly on the inside. Make sure it spins nice and freely as well. And just before we put this back together, I think we'll just give these splines a little clean up before we bolt everything back up. Just make life easier for ourselves. There is a keyway on this shaft as well. I wonder if I can show it to you on the inside. Possibly not, but essentially it only goes in one way. So there's two splines that are ridged together. Not ridged together actually, it looks like a solid slope at the front. And then inside the universal joint coupling, there's just a slot for it to slide into rather than two splines side by side. Apart from that, this is pretty easy, and it should, if you're struggling to put it back together, just really stare at these splines and make sure that you're lining them up correctly. And you can bolt this end here back up, and then this part here compresses, so you can compress it back and then use the power of this to help you push this together. And then once you've got it started, we'll just put our bolt in there, and then we'll use the bolt to pull it the rest of the way up. At the beginning of this video, there was a washer on this bolt, and it hooked over the side like this. We bent that out of the way with a chisel. Now the part that we bent is here. You can see where it's slightly deformed now. The other side of this faces away from the bolt like that, and it acts like a little locking tab, so that when you put this on, this washer essentially stops the bolt from coming loose. So that goes in the middle here, like so. It's the only way it can go really. If you look just there, it's kind of still dark at the moment. That is imperative, because if this bolt comes loose, you'll well, bad things will happen, shall we say. Your prop will just come loose, fly all over the place. I don't know if it would fall out, but it'd make a hell of a racket and possibly strip all the splines, so that would be pricey. So yeah, do not forget to bend this back up when you put this back in. And that's the next job now. Now that we've got everything connected loosely, we'll put the bolt back in and we'll use it to wind in the rest of the spline, bring them together. Just going to put our centre bolt back in. Well, that was a bit of a mission, but you need to get all of these in and in the right orientation as well. And now we've done that, we can tighten this thing down. So this bit here should go down over the seal for the bearing, and this does not need to be tight. It's going to be locked in place anyway, so this is going to be locked in place anyway, so there isn't really much chance of it coming super loose. Once it starts turning it like that, I usually just give it just a tiny bit more and then leave it alone. It's pretty much seated now, as you can see in there, which is good. Looking nice and shiny. Just tighten these up. There we go. She's in place. Okay, just tighten up this prop shaft at the back on the diff. So that's it, how to replace the centre bearing on your Ford Transit. Here we go, just in here. Do not forget to bend that back over, because that stops that bolt coming loose, you see, because obviously we've got this locking tab on the inside of here. Everything's nicely seated, turns freely, everything looks good, so we'll start her up and we'll take her for a test drive. Okay, so we've got her started. The most important thing to do after something like this is just make sure that it's got drive. So we'll put it in gear. She has drive. Next thing we want to do is just listen for any strange noises. Load it just in the other direction. Sounds good. Oh, there we go. Just dump her there for a second. That's it. I'll take it for a full test drive in a minute, but I can't do that while filming. This is genuinely a private road. I know a lot of people say that, but this genuinely is a private road down to down to, there's a gate head at the end, down to the gate head. This is private, so I can do whatever the heck I want here. But I will not break the law, and if I get pulled over while filming, it's not worth it. But that's essentially it. If you try this job, let me know how you get on. And I think if you're going to struggle with anything, I reckon separating two prop shafts is going to be the thing that you struggle with the most. Just remember, once that bolt is out, it should come off. So give it your best shot.